This is Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans with me, Cheryl Burke, an iHeartRadio podcast. Hey guys, welcome to Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans. We've got an incredible guest today on the show. She is an actor, producer, podcaster, and you probably know her best for her role as Laura Ingalls Wilder on House on the Prairie. She's graced the screens for nearly 50 years and got her Hollywood Star Walk of Fame in 1985 and spent 4 years as the president of the Screen Actors Guild. In 2009, our guest also opened up with her struggle with alcoholism in her autobiography, Prairie Tale, a memoir. I'm actually currently listening to it. It's pretty good. What I admire most about our next guest the most is how unspoken she is and has been about sexual abuse in her line of work and how she has taken on the pressure of aging in Hollywood. On a lighter note, she is a fellow arts and crafts woman. That's right. If anyone knows me, they know I love me some arts and crafts, huh? In all seriousness, though, I thought we'd continue the important conversation when it comes to body image with someone who has been a huge advocate and powerful voice on this subject. My guest has been vocal about her experiences with feeling the need to look a certain way, especially in the entertainment industry. And by continuing to tell her story, she's been a huge inspiration to me and many as she embraces and doesn't shy away from her authenticity. She quotes, "The idea that we're trying to teach people to be afraid of aging is a mistake. Aging is a gift. I like to say I'm aging gratefully. It's exhausting keeping up that kind of facade," she said. So she stopped it all. The injections, the hair dye, the red carpets, and moved away from Hollywood to upstate New York, where she lives a slow and intentional cabin dwelling life. Clearly, her vulnerability is powerful, and I know so many of you will relate to her, as I can definitely say that I do as well. After all, she's made it the mission of Modern Prairie, her lifestyle brand, to empower and connect older women as she builds a community of people whose intention is to embrace their age without feeling the need to live a materialistic life of vanity. My guest has redefined beauty today. And of course, let's not forget her dancing skills as one of the celebrity contestants on Dancing with the Stars season 14, who danced with fan favorite Maxim Shmerkovsky. I recently received a DM from her saying, "I've been following you on Instagram and you are so brave, so strong, so authentically you. Proud of you. Also, as an actor, you gave me the only note I ever got on that show that I could really sink my teeth into. In our group number, you said to Max, just tell her to dance arrogantly." Changed everything. Please welcome my friend Melissa Gilbert to the show. Hi, Melissa. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. But, honestly, I just have done so much research on you, especially obviously lately, because for obvious reasons, but also I am so intrigued by all that you've done and for how strong and inspirational you are as a woman and how you've been such an advocate for, beauty and how it's defined and just being an open book. So thank you for all that you've done and do.
Thank you so much. When we were working together, there was so little time for anybody to have a conversation that we barely even got to know each other at all. So I'm really glad that we at least have this chance to talk. And now that we're connected again.
Yes. Well, we can have a newfound friendship because I've also downloaded, I just told you I'm listening to your Audible, but I'm on that app now, the Modern Prairie app.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's
yes. That. Because, it's so important to, maybe just tell my listeners a little bit about Modern Prairie. I mean, I wasn't going to start there, but let's just start there because it's so useful and it's something that we need as women, to create a community. Because, I moved out of LA as well. I'm still in California, but I definitely feel the need to create or be a part of one.
Yeah, it is. It's very important. And I'll tell you, I'm way ahead of you in years. And as we age, we go through so many extraordinary changes. And there's such a tendency for people to, all our lives generally as women, to pigeonhole us and kind of put us in the corner, so to speak. Yeah. And as we get older, you'll find that people tend to either think, oh, there goes that crazy old lady, don't talk to her. Or, oh, she's so cute. Look how sweet that little old lady is. They totally underestimate the strength, power, and knowledge.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's also so many questions because certain things are not talked about when it comes to menopause, for example.
Yeah, I guess so. And I think that's part of the reason we created my partner, Nicole Hazy, who is a genius, my business partner. And she's the CEO. We're co-founders of Modern Prairie. One of the reasons we did that was we wanted to create a space where women could talk to other women safely.
Yes. Yeah.
Comfortably, and about all of this stuff and all of the things that we're dealing with. Aging parents is a big one. I'm going through too. I have one parent left. I have my mom left, and she doesn't have dementia or anything, but she had a health scare last year, and it was a real wake up call for my sister and me and my kids and the grandkids. And
I'm sure.
And that's sort of part of life. And I find one of the things that women do really, really well is we don't do tiny talk. We get
I hate small talk.
I can't handle it. That's why I don't like going to cocktail parties and like hovering with people I don't know. I don't have time. I want to talk about the good stuff.
Yes. Like, let's get down and dirty. So speaking of, this is a great transition. Well, thank you for doing that, by the way, because I plan on just continuing on and slowly I suffer from social anxiety, as I know you do as well, or you did. So but it's since this pandemic, I guess, too, it's like we've found other ways of communicating without having to be in person, and I think maybe it's more of that. My therapist said to me recently that I am more vulnerable actually via Zoom.
Oh, no.
Than I am in person, which is great because now I don't have to drive all the way to LA and go into her office. Like we're having a Zoom relationship.
That's fantastic. Listen, whatever it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a big proponent of therapy, so good on you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's rewind. So you started in this business at such a young age. Very young age.
Really?
How are you still sane?
I'm not. That's the key. I'm the good kind of crazy, though, I think.
Yes. No, you're not crazy at all.
I started when I was 2. Clearly not a conscious decision on my part, but I grew up in a family full of show business people. My father was an actor, singer, dancer, stand-up comic. He started out as an acrobat in the circus as a child. So he had that in him. His mother was a trapeze artist from France. His father was an Irish vaudevillian. My mother was an actress. My grandfather, her father, was a very famous comedy writer. He created The Honeymooners. He wrote for Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. He used to write punch-up jokes for John F. Kennedy when he was president.
Wow.
So it's in my family. Fortunately for me, I'm adopted too, and I was born of people with musical and a performing family, and then given to a family of performers. So
so you were meant to be here.
Absolutely, this is my world. And it just seemed my mom had family. We had family friends who would look at me and say, she should be doing commercials. She should be doing commercials. And my mom would say to my dad, I don't think so. And he'd say, well, why don't you just try it? So they just tried it. And it stuck. And I did a lot of commercials and then, started doing little roles here and there, but nothing major because they didn't want me out of school. And then Little House on the Prairie came along, and it was my mom's favorite books and my favorite book. I'd read at least 2 of them at that point in school. So it was sort of we've got to see if this will.
Yeah.
And
that's a great. It sounds familiar. A little bit with my my mother. I come from the original dance mom, so it was like ballet, ballroom, anything in the arts. And thank God for her for that because I wasn't great at school.
I was, oddly enough. I liked school. I've always been a bit of an overachiever, and I pushed myself really, really hard. So it's no surprise I started getting migraines when I was 8.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Say more. Was that more of the mental health side of things, or?
It may well have been. I don't know that I was clocking it. I know that I wasn't clocking it at the time. We all have trauma and stuff.
Of course.
I had my share. My parents divorced when I was 6. My father died when I was 11. So, I've walked through a lot of stuff, but I put a lot of pressure on myself to be the best. And I was so competitive. I was competitive in dance class. I started dance too while I was acting. So, this myth that most of the people who are on Dancing with the Stars have 0 dance experience.
Oh, please. Why would you sign up for a show if you had 0 dance experience? I just want to know.
I know. You got to. Especially that show, you've got to be. You got to be.
In a way, though, don't you think? We'll get there. But when did you start to feel the pressures of Hollywood? Of the vanity side of things.
I really started to feel it when I hit puberty. And,
Right.
at the same time that I hit puberty, my character on the show was falling in love with the man who would become her husband. And on the show, I mean, in real life, Laura Ingalls Wilder got married at, I believe it was 16, 17.
Wow.
And so did my character. And I was that age and I wasn't even dating yet. I mean, It was really something that would never be filmed today too, because my leading man, God love him, was like a man. He was in his 20s. He drove a car.
Oh, wow.
He was, I don't know how we pulled all of that off, but
yeah,
as I hit puberty and then into adolescence, that's when it became, oh, her nose is too wide. Oh, her boobs are too small. Oh, she's gaining weight. Let's put her on a diet.
They would say that to you?
Yeah. Put me on a diet, put me in a corset, put me in a padded bra. Let's get your nose done. It was sort of like, this is just the way things are done. And I sort of feel like, I came in at the tail end of like a weird Hollywood studio system. Like I was the last one that was molded, sort of, because my sister came after me and she's just her. She's always been her. She's been allowed to be her. I sort of felt like I was sort of the last, I don't know.
Yeah. Let me mold you into what you think that you need to be or whatever that person needs you to be.
Yeah. It was a rough message for a teenage girl.
Oh,
not thinking that you're enough at that age. It really sets you up for a lot of problems later. And I'll tell you, I look at pictures of myself back then. I wish I'd known. I had a great physique. I was healthy. I was strong. I danced almost 5 days a week. I was in the gym. I played football with boys. I was like a combination of a ballerina and a tomboy.
Love it. I love it. We have a lot in common. I feel the same way. I literally grew out of my tights when I was 11 years old because I actually hit puberty when I was 9. And I think that happens because due to the sexual abuse I dealt with when I was a little girl. And, supposedly they say, statistics say that when young girls go through sexual abuse at a young age, they develop a lot faster. And so that's when I actually, so that I had the same body as I do now than I did back when I was 9.
I didn't. I didn't. I wish I had that body now, but I at that time it just wasn't good enough. It wasn't. My chest was too flat. My legs were too muscular. I just wasn't feminine enough. I was more of, I danced like a dude. Actually, it was more of a jumper than a floater.
Well, I'm sure it was beautiful. And I just watched all of your dances on Dancing with the Stars. And that was some hard choreography, Maxim Shmerkovsky. Oh, I mean, that was really hard what he gave you.
He didn't give me a break ever at all. Not for a moment. And
I mean, we know Max. I would be shocked if he did.
No, I know. And, I was in a really interesting place emotionally at that time too, because I had just come out of I was just going through it, finishing up a divorce of a relationship that had been 20 years and in a marriage that had been, not great. And for the last several years where I really kind of put myself in the background to make myself smaller, to make him feel bigger, which is something that so many women do that
I do that a lot. Yes.
Oh, terrible. I don't know. That's like the biggest therapy thing that I had to go through. And so I was just coming out of that and I just found my voice and I was going kind of the opposite direction. So I had super voice and that did not mix well with super max.
Not at all. Sorry. I'm just laughing because every time you explain part of your story, I can relate so much to it. But yes, no, Super Voice and Super Max don't get along.
No, and we loved each other dearly.
Yes.
We just clashed constantly. And I mean, it was just so dramatic. There were so many taking off microphones and leaving the room and going down. And you're not following me with the damn camera. Get out of my face. Max, go away. And thank God there were other people around. Thank God for Val and Tony and PETA, because they were falling in love then too.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yes. Thank God. Yes. Because then he could go home to PETA and then hopefully be, happier the next day.
For at least a moment or two. And then hours into rehearsal, it would just start again. What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Were you trained for this though, in a way? Because like you said, you went through dance experience, you had some dance experience, but like, obviously, I don't know if it was it ballet that you were involved in?
Yeah, I had a Russian ballet teacher who danced. I mean, she had a big stick and she hit us in the, I remember popo flat. She'd hit us in the ass.
That would not fly today.
No, not at all. But other than that, I mean, I think I put, like I said, I put most of the pressure on myself. So I had to be the best one in the class at all times.
Yes.
And that was a struggle for me because I came into Dancing with the Stars, clearly not the best one in the class and one of the oldest ones there. And my body just didn't do what it used to do.
But that's because you went through you had a broken back prior. Was it prior or was it after?
It was prior. I had broken my back before, which is why that jive we did was to celebrate my back healing.
Really?
And
I hate jive.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's, the whole reason I did the show is to prove to myself that I could do it after breaking my back.
And?
I did it. And then
you did.
I ended up having to have neck surgery a couple of years later and another neck surgery a couple of years after that. So here you go.
But dancing is healing. Other than that,
oh no, it's great. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
No, I mean, it really. I mean, like like you said, when you met your now husband, I think I read somewhere where you were like in the best shape. But more importantly, though, we know that happens on a physical level. I think it's more about the mental health level, right? Like, I just had Lacey Schwimmer on. I'm not sure if you know Lacey. She was a former pro dancer.
I met her once, I believe.
Yeah. And I actually just had Louie on prior to this interview. And, we talk a lot about body image and especially in the industry, the dance industry, but now the dance industry in the Hollywood industry, So it's like, it's almost like, it's not a double whammy. I don't want to speak negatively because, that's not, it has given me so much joy and it has helped me, deal and just in general just get through some trauma in my life. Absolutely, dancing has saved my life in so many different ways, but it has also left a lasting or re-traumatized some things about my own view as well when it comes to myself, right? Like dealing with body dysmorphia. Had you ever dealt with anything similar?
I think so. I think I don't know that it went as far as body dysmorphia, but I definitely was very insecure about my looks for a really long time. And I wrote in my book, which you're listening to, that being on Dancing with the Stars sort of, it heightened all of that for me because of, it was the hair extensions and the makeup and the costumes and the spray tan. And, little did I know that the spray tan had a dual purpose aside from making, aside from making you look thinner and, more even toned, which for me is like a miracle because I'm pasty white and blue. So that was great. But it covers up all the bruises.
But it also like bodybuilders as well.
Yeah.
Like it just makes you cut.
Muscles in. I know. And the glitter and oh my gosh.
Wait, speaking of bruises, or what do you mean? Say more.
I had at one point after I believe it was the Argentine tango, I had Max's finger marks around.
Oh my God. You guys, though, I have to say, when I was watching all of your dances, like I said, that was some hard choreography, but you didn't just keep up, you sold it. I mean, you told a story through movement. It was really beautiful to watch, though I know how agonizing, when the pain was at the time. And I didn't even see you, we'll get there, but I never even saw you hit your head on his leg when that injury happened and you got was it a mild concussion or a full-blown concussion?
It's a full-blown concussion, but I hit him with my neck.
Oh,
so my neck hit him
was it that?
It was the drop thing.
The death drop. It's literally called a death drop. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I actually was okay for a few minutes there. And then I got up and we were walking over getting the scores and I was listening to the judges talk. And then all of a sudden I just couldn't hear anything. And I got really dizzy and I was just sort of standing there looking at Tom Bergeron, who's been a friend of mine forever and a day.
I love Tom.
Just staring at Tom like, something's not right. And then by the time I got upstairs to the skybox, that was it. That's when
my gosh.
Gavin DeGraw came over and said, something's wrong with you. And I said, yeah, I'm not okay. I have to get out of here. And
wow. Okay. So when you describe the ballroom dancing as like, yes, it's spray tans, lashes, and all of that, would you say that when you were in rehearsals, would you have been able to been more your authentic self? Because I believe that ballroom dancing has always been the glitter and all of that, but you can't even get to the glitter until you have the blood, sweat, and tears in rehearsal, right? Like no one's going to be getting there, as far as I'm concerned, until you are until you feel comfortable enough to get and perform in front of a live audience. But in this case, on Dancing with the Stars, the time is not on your side. But would you say that it was necessary for you at all times during the show, or was it just the performance side of it?
Just a performance. In rehearsal, I was, fully in my own skin and just, it was just, there was no other way to be. I mean, I felt like the rehearsals were so intense.
Yeah.
And so I walked out of every rehearsal just raw and exhausted. I don't even remember eating when I got home. I think one night I ate a box of Red Hots of candy. That was the only thing I could do.
I know it's a survival of the fittest in that sense, but more of the mental, I think, sense than physical, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is. I mean, it's constant, and there's always something kind of that can go wrong. And then, if you don't speak a language of choreography for a long time, and then it's like learning a whole new language, and then all of a sudden it changes because something has to change, then it gets crazy. And then they start adding dances and then it's a really emotional roller coaster, but it does leave you with a feeling that you've accomplished something really incredible.
Yeah, no, it does. And it's crazy. 26 seasons after 26 seasons of doing it, there is that sense of like, oh my gosh, it's not about winning, right? It's really about just doing the best that you can at that time. And after all of the ups and downs, because it's like when you get saved, you're like, yes, I'm going through another week. Then I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do next week? It's a constant battle. It's like, can I ever just stay in the moment and be happy? No, because I'm always worried about like what's happening next. How am I going to choreograph or get my celebrity to dance next week?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I remember those days too, thinking, okay, great, we're through. Shit, I don't want to dance tomorrow. I need a day off. I need one day. And also, I have children at home. I had one child at home still. I had a teenager at home, and we were going through a divorce. So I had a lot of responsibility there too, as a single mom.
Okay, so I remember reading recently a People magazine article about when you said that for you, when you tried Peter Murgatroyd's, or at the time Murgatroyd's, dance costume on, that you were like, you finally were able to fit into her costume, but knowing that she's like 20 years younger or something like that, you were quoted. I'm saying it all wrong, most likely. So
it was actually a really cool feeling. It was for the finale. It was for the last episode. And there was a big group dance, and they put us all in gold. And rather than make costumes all over again, they tried to get us in other costumes. And she pulled one for me, and I put it on, and I went, "Oh my God, this fits like a glove. Whose is this?" And she said, "Peta's." And I went, "What? Wait, it is my body. This is on me, and it fits." I felt like I had won. I felt like I'd won.
That was it.
And of course, it did not last maybe 2 months, but
you said, though, the stress of the show and just like barely having energy to eat.
No, I know it's physically and emotionally, it is an exhausting experience. It really is. And then the phone calls too, though, me calling producers and going, "You're not going to use that footage, are you? Please don't do that. It just makes Max look like a dick. And it makes me."
Oh, that's sweet of you.
"Please don't do it." And they're like, "No, we have to." And I said, "No, you don't. You really don't. This is me. This is like the grown up me going, with my big super voice now going, don't do that to him. It's a pressure cooker. And when people pop off, they pop off."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and did they listen to you?
No.
So you're talking about the packages for all my listeners at the moment. Like, so they film you basically. So this was back in the day when we had results shows. So now there's no result shows, but there still is the live show. But then they do film quite a lot. I would say it depends on who the showrunner is. I believe Conrad was the showrunner back in your season still.
Conrad.
Yep.
It was Conrad.
So like, and the thing is, what he always advocates is for the reality of the situation of whatever's happening in the dance studio. And I remember even from personal experience, like there's certain things that I don't want to be in the package when it just is a blip of the actual rehearsal, whether it's like a fight or like me like rolling my eyes or just like me trying to cover my mic and say, it's just, there's certain things, because like as professional dancers, we get so invested, especially when we teach specifically Paso Doble. We start to act like the character, right? Like it almost looks like we are either mad or over it or whatever. But like, and I know Max since I was a teenager, and I know how intense he is. And I feel like I'm the same, but a woman version of him. But like when we do, teach, it is hardcore because that's how we were trained as kids, and that's us giving tough love. But then when we give you a great like an affirmation, like my love language is definitely not words of affirmation, but it is, we mean it, and we just want the best for our partners. It seems like you guys had a love-hate relationship, right?
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I don't do well being, here's a great expression, mollycoddled. I don't like being patronized. I don't like being told I'm doing great when I'm not doing great.
Yes.
I like to be told the truth, and I like the challenge. And I definitely got that with Max. He was brutally honest sometimes. And one of the things one of my reactions to it was I would burst into tears a lot. And mostly I was bursting into tears because it was just, it was like these constant epiphanies for me of going, okay, I can make it through this, and we're arguing about this. But then it wasn't that we hated each other, it's that we challenged each other a ton.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is, I love the idea of earning someone's respect and admiration, love. And I got that from him in spades. He was so generous and so kind and so warm when he needed to be. And it meant so much more than if he had been, a squishy love pie the whole time. Although I could have been a little more squishy love pie.
I have to say, though, I remember Max obviously is only like that with people he believes in. That's something I do know.
That was one of the things that I knew as well. And I can't remember who told me that. Somebody else told me that. I want to
maybe PETA or Tony or somebody.
Maybe it was Tony. It might have been Tony.
Yeah.
Tony was a big help to us when we would really have a problem. And
really,
and yeah, because I would get so crazy that I would like stop and just okay, this is too much. I can't do this right now. I don't want to talk to anybody. And then Tony would say, come dance with me.
Oh, gosh.
And he'd go through my choreography and I go, oh, I got it. Oh, great. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah. So it was really nice being surrounded by all of them. And Val did the same thing too. Cause remember, Max got injured. He hurt his foot. His foot was bugging him. And so Val had to be ready to step in at the last possible minute.
So would you have, so let's just say if you were to ever do Dancing with the Stars again, but be able to be your authentic self, no spray tan, no glitter, no lashes, none of it, would you want to dance with Max if that was an option still, or would you choose someone else?
I would want to dance with Max. I actually, I'll tell you a little behind the scenes.
Okay.
That nobody really knows.
Give me the tea, girl. Give me the tea.
Here's the tea, baby. When I signed on to do the show, the whole group took me out to lunch at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And I had been friends with Kirstie Alley. And so when I gotten the call to do the show, I called her and she said, you have to dance with Max. If you can get Max, you have to dance with Max. He's going to make you crazy, but you have to do it because he'll make you better. And so they took me to lunch at the Beverly Hills Hotel and they said, so do you have any questions for us? I said, I don't really have any questions. I have a request. I would like to dance with Max. And
Good
they
for
said,
you.
We don't do that. And I said, I know you don't. I'm just telling you, I want to dance with Max. And so on the day I showed up to meet my pro, when he walked in the door, my first thought was, hell yeah. Here we go.
And then how fast was it when you were like, hell no?
It was took a few weeks. Oh boy, what have I done now? My favorite thing though was Max's face when he looked at me, because like you when you interviewed him on this podcast, he had no idea who I was. No clue. He didn't. He'd never seen Little House on the Prairie. So on the second day of rehearsal, I showed up with a box set of Little House on the Prairie DVDs for him to watch that I'm sure he still hasn't watched.
I'm sure he still has, though. Hopefully he's showing his kids now. Watching it with his kids.
Great. Oh, they're so cute, his kids too.
Oh, do you guys still keep in touch?
We don't. On occasion, I talk to him every once in a great while. I'll shoot him a text or something. I actually texted him when he was in Ukraine.
Oh,
when the war started, I texted him and said, "What can I do? How can I help you get out? Is there anything I got? You have to. We need you home. Don't."
Yeah.
Please. And but he didn't answer, which made me nervous. But then I saw the footage of him come home, so I thought, okay, he's okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, I'll never forget that either. I also text, and but yeah, exactly like you. You know, obviously, I didn't expect anything back in return, but that must have been so insane, that experience.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. He has a great social conscience. That is
he does.
Beautiful things about Max is he cares deeply about people, and that balances well enough to sort of mitigate any harshness he might have.
Yeah. Yeah. What is one of your proudest moments on the show?
That jive.
It was intense. That was hard.
It was intense. It was hard. It was beautiful. That song was beautiful. And it came out of, it wasn't my original plan. Remember, it was our most memorable year was that dance. Mm-hmm. And I had a number of choices. Obviously my most memorable year was, I wanted to dance to my father had passed away when I was 11. And then I found out the truth of how he died when I was in my 40s. I had been told he died of a stroke, but I later found out he died by suicide with a gun. And so I wanted to do that. And the producers came to me and said, you can't do that. Catherine is dancing to her father who just recently passed. And I was like, oh, great. So it's a contest now. Well, then the next best thing was I gave birth to a premature child who's now here. And they went, no, Sherry's doing that. Jesus Christ. Okay. I broke my back and I'm here. And they went, bingo. Nobody else has done that yet. So, it just sort of, we stumbled into it, but it turned out to be my favorite dance. It was so lyrical and so much fun and so freeing. And I felt really confident and comfortable. I mean, Max was laughing at me while we were doing it on the show because I was screaming and hooting and hollering through the whole dance.
I saw that. I was wondering if he was yelling at you or what was happening.
It was me looking at him going, hell yeah, this is so much fun. Oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
You guys had a special partnership, the two of you. When it comes to chemistry, you either have it or you don't. It's really black and white like that. And you guys definitely you could see on the floor, your expression through movement was very much respect for one another, but also a challenge as well.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful to watch.
Thank you.
When it comes to body image and I guess for someone like me who goes through every day, right, of just what I see in the mirror doesn't necessarily what everyone sees. And then being raised as a dancer since I was 4 and literally growing out of my ballet tights and I chose to move on to ballroom. But with that, weight has always been something of, I guess, an issue, but within the dance community in a way, because I am curvy, right? What is your advice for women who struggle who are maybe only a size 4, but feel the need to be a size 0 or 2 when they want to be in the entertainment industry? It's like, and maybe physically, like, there's nothing I could do. I couldn't shave my hips off. Like, even if I want, I mean, I bet you could, but like, I would never do that.
No.
But like, it's a struggle.
I know it is a struggle. And when I hear you say size 4, my first thought was those are the days. Wow. I remember size 4. Passed that a while back. Menopause is fun, by the way.
Oh, I think I'm going through perimenopause. Actually, I must be. I feel it. I'm 39.
Yeah, that could be. It could be.
Yeah. I got my period when I was 9.
Yeah, it could be. It could very well be. Your doctor will tell you.
Yes.
I remember when I was a little girl, little girl, my mother went to the ballet and Margot Fonteyn and Rudolph and Nureyev were dancing Romeo and Juliet. And for some reason, they came back to our house. I don't know why. With the whole ballet company came to our house. And my mother, I remember her coming home from the ballet in the middle of the night and freaking out because Margot Fonteyn only ate steak and grapefruit and her steak was frozen. And she
Wait, what?
Steak and grapefruit.
Frozen steak?
No, it wasn't frozen. My mom had frozen steak and she was panicked because she had to cook the steak for Margot Fonteyn. And she had grapefruit because my mom made grapefruit every morning. So she put the steak in the dryer and tumbled it until it was defrosted so she could cook it for Margot Fonteyn. And I remember thinking, I must have been 5 years old, thinking, steak and grapefruit, that's not okay. And to think about a woman then, and then that the eating stuff is so ingrained, it goes all the way back to a prima ballerina from the 1950s and 60s. Mm-hmm. It's no surprise that there are these issues out there. I will tell you from my own personal experience, I just had this thing happen where I was looking at some pictures of a couple of my contemporaries at like Paris Fashion Week or something, Demi Moore in particular, who is stunningly beautiful, always in great shape. She looks so elegant. And it really sort of, and she's tiny, and I am not anymore. It's just the fact of life. I'm healthy. I feel great, but I'm not tiny. And I went and I sat with my doctor, my gynecologist. We were talking about my hormones and menopause and all this stuff. And I'm postmenopausal now. And she said to me, well, do you want to spend 3 hours every day in the gym? Because you could be that same size. Or is there something else you'd rather do with your time? And I said, yeah, I'd rather go play with my grandkids. She said, well, there's your answer.
Wow.
And then another thing just happened to me too. I was walking down the street with some friends and I was walking past windows and I looked at my reflection and my first thought was, Jesus, I gained weight. And I walked by another window and I did it again. And then I started to feel bad about myself. And I thought, okay, how am I going to fix this? And I thought, I know, I'm going to stop looking at my reflection in the window right now.
Right. I mean, that seems so obvious, but it's not that obvious. I mean, especially as a dancer, you're only seeing your reflection. You have, first of all, since I was a little girl, there's mirrors everywhere in the dance studio. You can't actually do it you can, but you need to see what you're doing. You need to see how you're executing a step. And then the comparison happens, right? Then you compare. And then, one girl can do the splits or one girl's legs are longer. I'll never forget one of my dance coaches was like, he literally looked into, sounds so bad. He literally looked into getting my legs elongated by breaking the hips. Okay, you'd have to break your hips in order. So I guess they do this in Asia. Like not all, but like there is a procedure done in Asia where they break their hips to elongate their legs about 2 to 3 inches, and you have to learn how to walk again, basically. Isn't that insanity?
That's insane. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just laughing because it's so uncomfortable, but yes, I mean, like imagine. So like, and then I'm in my teens when this is all happening. I realized, okay, yes, my torso is longer than my legs. Like it's always been like an issue. So I always have to wear the 3.5-inch stiletto heel to elongate my legs. And then my costumes have to, hide. My costumes have to be high on the hips so that my legs look longer. Like there's so many ways to kind of manipulate, right, the body so that, and then when you're on TV, the camera adds 10 pounds, then you're half naked. And if I have a fat roll in my back while I'm settling my hip into the ground, it's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem, and it's crazy making. It really is. It's so damaging.
It is damaging. And so, how I guess now moving forward, how did you move forward? How did you I understand you left LA, and I mean, I'm sure it helps a lot that you have a supporting and loving husband.
It does. That does make a huge difference. He was there every time I said something like, I think I want to get my implants removed permanently. He went, do it. Let's go. Let's go get them out. Let's go find a surgeon. They're out. And then when I said, I think I'm going to stop coloring my hair and let it go gray. Yes, let's do it. Let's see what it looks like. So That definitely is helpful. I probably would have done all of this anyway. There was a moment where I looked at myself in the mirror and I had, my eyebrows were overly arched from Botox. My lips were just a little too big. I looked like, I don't know. I looked like I just
ballroom dancer. No kidding.
Constantly curious.
Yeah. Constantly curious. Oh my goodness. Constantly have a question on your face. Like,
yeah. And that's it. There's no other expression. There's no sorrow.
Well, you look beautiful. I love that. I love this. I really do. AJ was just on. AJ McLean was one of my dance partners from the Backstreet Boys. And he talks about how he's actually got a lot done when it comes to certain things that he was insecure about that I had no idea about when we were dancing together. Like he got like some of his, I guess something, I don't know specifically, but like even men go through this. Joey Fatone was just on People magazine saying men get work done too. Pamela Anderson, another former contestant on Dancing with the Stars, is promoting just like a bare face, was in the front row of Paris, sitting in Paris Fashion Week, which is amazing.
I love
coming
that.
from like a sex goddess that she was labeled as, when I was a teenager, to like just totally owning her own beauty. What do you think about the three people I just mentioned?
I think to each his own. I think so long as you're not damaging yourself or hurting anybody else, you can do whatever you need to do to feel good in your own skin.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. Yesterday, I was on Instagram and I saw you had a little brief thing about talking to
Louis.
And you had no makeup on, you had a baseball hat on, and your freckles were showing. And I just thought you looked absolutely adorable. I love your freckles. I wish I still had my freckles. My freckles all migrated to my shoulders. 10 years, they're going to all be on my hips. And then when I'm in my 80s, they're just going to be on my feet.
I used to get bullied for my freckles, so I can't wait till they migrate to my shoulders.
I totally understand. I'm known for being a freckle face.
I love that.
I just think,
it's so much less work. Now you see no freckles. You know how long this took?
I know. No, I do. I totally do. And at this age now, Cheryl, I'm going to be 60 in May.
Wow.
And
oh, wait, you're a Taurus. I am May 3rd.
May 8th.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yay. That's why I love you. Okay.
See, there you go. And Tom Bergeron's a Taurus too.
Yes, he is.
He's May 7th, I think.
Yep. May 6th.
May 6th. That's right. We all had birthdays that week and I got sent home on my birthday.
Oh, that was a great birthday gift, no?
You know what? It actually was, because it was starting to get a little wild out there. I was kind of,
Oh, my goodness. Okay, I have a lot of fan questions for you, and then we're going to play this game called Rapid Fire that we normally do at the end of every interview. So, the only person who has actually done the Rapid Fire the way it needs to be done is AJ McLean, because everyone, like especially Max, like he just continued on. I'm like, it's Rapid Fire, Max.
I remember, I watched. I know.
Oh yeah, you did. At Kathleen Reed Kayo asks, my favorite episode is The Blizzard. How hard was it filming those scenes as a child?
It wasn't really all that hard to shoot that because we were on a soundstage, so it wasn't cold or anything. It was all fake snow. It was hot, if anything. But I was really antsy because my sister was born while we were shooting that. I was 11 years old and my baby sister was born, and all I wanted to do was go home and play with the baby. I really don't want to be there. That was the hardest part of shooting The Blizzard.
That's so funny. You have 11-year age gap. Me and my half sister, we have a 9-year age gap. I feel the same way. Like I feel like I'm her mother, basically.
Yeah, she was my first baby. I tell people I made them put her nursery next to my room so I could get up in the middle of the night with her.
Oh my God, same. I'm like, I always tell my sister jokingly, I'm like, I breastfed you, basically. Okay. She goes, that's disgusting. And I'm like, yeah okay. At Marmoral Mill.
Okay.
A lot of M's. Do you still dance? And why did you move to where you are now?
I don't dance. I mean, I go dancing. We do have a lot of dance parties in our house. My husband.
I love that.
Yeah. We have like one of us will go dance break and the music will be on. We're just jumping around the house, which is really, really fun.
I love that.
I don't. Though I don't go to class. I did go to ballet quite a bit. When I moved to New York, there's a ballet studio right around the corner from our apartment in the city, steps on Broadway on the Upper West Side. So I went back to like an old lady ballet class, which I loved. And then COVID hit. So I had to find, alternatives.
Yeah.
But I exercise regularly and I just try to stay as healthy as I can. And dancing is something I do out of sheer joy now.
Great. Yeah. I hope to get there one day. Why did you move to where you are living now was the second question.
We moved to Michigan because when I met Tim, my husband, he was living in Michigan, which is the state where he's from. And so when he said to me, I'm really into you, and that's great. But the problem is I live in Michigan. I was so ready to leave LA. I wanted to go somewhere where I could age and not feel bad about it and just figure out who the rest of me was.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to be in this last third of my life. So we were in Michigan for 5 years, and it really, it just sort of centered me so much so that when it came time to go back to work and start doing theater again, and Tim was directing again, the move to New York City seemed the next logical choice. And then we're in the city for a bit. We still have a place there, but we had to get out too because we're kind of country people. So we bought our place up in the woods, and that's where we are most of the time.
Do you have a bigger dog now? Because I remember in your book, you gave your dog away because you moved to the city.
Oh yeah, no, we have a bigger dog now too. We have Chicago is a lab mix rescue, and then we have Sundance, who's a baby 4-month-old Australian Shepherd.
Oh my God, those are beautiful.
Yeah, she's a beaut.
And so smart.
She's really smart. She learned sit and shake and down in like 5 minutes when she was like 12 weeks old.
I just have a French bulldog. I mean, she's smart for her brain. It must be so tiny, but she already knows how to manipulate me. So that's pretty smart. I
had one of those too, Josephine. I wrote about her, and you'll hear about her in the book. I can't wait. Yeah.
Okay. At Anne Marie 35 asks, what was your most favorite job and why?
Does it have to be a paid job?
No, I guess not.
I like grandma the most, actually.
Yeah.
I really like being Nana. It's just so much fun. It's so, I'm so relaxed now because I'm not their parents, and it's just my job to say yes all the time. And they kiss me on my lips and it makes my day, and I'm with them and I play with them, and then I can give them back and go to sleep.
I love that. That sounds wonderful.
It's great. It's the whole reason for having children, actually.
Yeah. At Lilu Foot asks, what was the best advice that Michael Landon ever gave you?
He mostly taught me by example. One of the things he insisted that we do as kids on the show was to have an appreciation for everybody else's job. So I had to actually follow people around to learn what their jobs were, everyone from craft service to the greensman to grips and electrics, so that I never thought that what I did was more important than anybody else. And it really gave me a sense of collaboration. And this business we're in is very collaborative. And so as a consequence of that, I'm very collaborative when I work.
I love that so much. That's such a great lesson.
Yeah.
Last one, Ad Buffani 1962 asks, do you think that pros and producers of Dancing with the Stars handle contestants who are older differently or expect different things out of them physically? Definitely not physically, because you were on a whole nother level.
I did nothing different than anybody else.
No, that's for damn sure.
So I don't think so. Maybe there are others. I mean, I would imagine when Cloris Leachman was on, there was expectation.
Well, so are you watching this season?
I'm occasionally I'm recapping.
So Barry is still in it, and I still think. I mean, I think I'm rooting for him and PETA right now. I just hope that I can see he kind of tenses up and freezes sometimes. But like you, I was like, why aren't they giving her like a Viennese waltz or I feel like you got all the Latin dances in, and you very rarely got to live in the moment so much when it comes to the slower styles of dance. And the same thing with poor Barry last week. He was doing the quick step, and I could tell the last thing he wanted to do. He's a dancer. I mean, this guy can dance, and he's got so much natural musicality in his body. But then when you got to keep him in hold, it's just not going to happen.
It's hard. And staying in hold with Max is hard too, because he's so much taller than me. I mean, I probably should have asked him to dance with Derek, because my shoulders would have been down because my arms would have been down here as opposed to up here on Max's shoulder.
Do you have any advice for someone like Barry who's still like killing it?
So proud of him. You know what? He's so authentically him. It's just great to see that. And that's what's coming through is he. Yeah.
I think he could be better than Donny Osmond. Just my take on it all.
That's a tough call for me because I love dearly.
I love Donny too, but there's something about Barry. He's like, I'm telling you, there's something that when I saw the musicality that you just can't teach, his charisma, but also Donny it's just a different style, right? Like, I saw him do Latin and I saw him do his cha-cha and I was like, OMG, this guy is he's great. He's really good. Okay, rapid fire. Who do you still keep in touch with to this day that was a part of your season on Dancing with the Stars?
You.
Okay, great. Favorite dance?
Jive.
Least favorite dance?
Quick step.
Oh, I thought you were going to say paso doble. Okay, no, I know.
Even though I got into it, the quick step is heinous.
It is disgusting. Most memorable moment with Max?
My birthday dinner, the night we got home, he took my entire party of friends out to dinner and had ordered a cake and had this giant flower arrangement for me, picked up the tab when no one was looking. It was magic.
I just got chills. See, Maxim? If you could dance with any one of the pro male dancers on the show other than Max, who would it be with?
Tony.
Okay. Who falls in love first, the pro dancer or the celebrity?
I don't know. I watched my pro fall in love with another pro. So,
well, right. But who do you think if you had to choose?
The celebrity.
Yeah. What is one thing you wish you could have experienced during your time on the show? Go ahead.
A little less arguing.
More peace. What is one thing you wish you could have experienced during your time on the show? More peace. Foxtrot versus Viennese waltz. Choose one.
Viennese waltz.
Samba versus salsa.
Samba. That was a trio.
You did a great one. Yeah, it was. You had the two Shmerkovskys on. You had the Shmerkovsky sandwich.
Yes, I did.
Cha-cha versus jive.
Jive.
In one word, describe the late Len Goodman.
Gentleman.
In one word, describe Bruno Tonioli.
Fiery.
In one word, describe Carrie-Anne Nava.
Shiny. Light. I see light coming from.
In one word, describe your friend Tom Bergeron.
Brother.
I love him. In one word, describe your time on the show.
Rewarding.
In one word, describe Max.
I have two. All I can think of is love and challenge.
In one word, describe what the word beauty means to you today.
My grandkids.
Oh, and last one. In one word, who is Melissa Gilbert today?
Nana.
I love it. Thank you so much, Melissa. This was so fun. This was so much fun. Where can people find you? And are you working on you're working on so much, but like on anything new as far as like the entertainment industry goes, or are you just focusing on you?
There's a lot of stuff sort of brewing. Next year is the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie.
Wow.
50 years. And so there's a big festival in Simi Valley in March, and there's a bunch of other things that are kind of brewing that I have my hand in, but nothing solid. Can't really say anything yet. And of course, there's Modern Prairie. So there's the Modern Prairie app, which you are on, and then there's modernprairie.com. And we're getting ready for all of our holiday stuff and our holiday workshops. And
I just bought 2 puzzles from your modernprairie.com. I love puzzles. You have no idea. I'm a fellow arts and crafts woman. I don't think you understand. And I've been baking. I'm going to try your pumpkin pie with ginger snap crust too. I printed it out.
It's a good one. It's
okay.
Enjoy that.
Thank you.
I'm going to make that for Thanksgiving too. And so that's kind of it right now. There's always something.
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What is your website and your Instagram and social media handles?
My Instagram is, I think Melissa Gilbert Official is my Instagram, and it's www.modernprairie.com. Mm-hmm. And then you can download the app from there or at the App Store. It's the Modern Prairie app for Google or Android. And I think that's sort of, Modern Prairie has its own Instagram too, Modern Prairie, or official Modern Prairie.
Thank you so much for all that you do again. Thank you. This was so fun. And thanks for making the time.
Sure. Thanks for having me on. This was lovely.
Make sure you guys follow us at Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans on our Instagram handle, and make sure you comment. Let me know who you want me to interview. What do y'all think? Let me know.